What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Skews Day to you. As you're watching this, it's September 23rd, 2025. We are recording this on Monday, September 22nd, 1 p.m. on the left coast. That's where we're coming to you on the space-time continuum. I'm Trey. That's Mark. This is Weekly Skews. How you doing, Mark? Hanging in there?
Yeah, man, doing good. Mustache looking good.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I need to
Coming
take this down a little bit again. I'll try to keep it, keep it really mustached up, but that won't last long.
Yeah. Before we get to the show, a couple of things I wanted to talk about related to the our honky motherland of the United Kingdom and also our fellow former sister colony up north, Canada. So Trump was in UK last week for a state visit, and some people got arrested for projecting images of Trump with Epstein on the side of Windsor Castle. The charge was malicious communications, a suspicion of malicious communications, which is a funny thing. It's like, what qualifies as malicious communication?
Right. I don't know. Projecting, is it meant to be for projecting swastikas and stuff like that? After the war or something, and then it's just being used for this? Or is it just that you're not allowed to project anything onto the castle?
Well, half the royal family were Nazi sympathizers, so I don't know if it was a swastika thing. But
right.
but my thing is can you imagine how it feels being Prince Andrew?
Yeah.
You got banished for Epstein stuff, and then your brother's having your brother, who's now the king, is having a state dinner with the third guy from your Epstein group chat.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty annoying. I do. Whatever happened to Prince Andrew though? Didn't he? He's still out there somewhere, just being fine and creepy, right? It ain't like he got locked up or nothing. And I'm sure they're still taking care of him and stuff. They just don't talk about it.
I think they took away some of his titles or whatever. But I remember when this first all came to light, he had the disastrous TV interview that the Queen canceled his birthday party
sweat or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the Queen canceled his birthday party, which is such a funny response. It's the Queen's you imagine your mom being you can either play Nintendo or be a nonce, but you can't do both in my house, son. It's also Keir Starmer, UK's prime minister, had to fire Peter Mendelsohn, who was the ambassador to the United States, because of he turned up in the Epstein birthday book, writing sweet things about. But Mendelssohn's gay. He's the only one associated with Epstein who no one thinks did any creepy sex stuff, because Epstein didn't know any teenage boys, and he's the only one to suffer any consequences for it. It's just their reality is so fucking farcical, man. Up in Canada, so Trump's ambassador to Canada is a guy named Pete Hoekstra, and he gave a speech to the Chamber of Commerce the other day decrying Canada's anti-American, strong, his word strong, but kept very mild, let me quote here. I'm disappointed that I came to Canada, a Canada that is very, very difficult to find Canadians who are passionate about the American-Canadian relationship. You ran a campaign there where it was anti-American, using the elbows up slogan. It was an anti-American campaign. That has continued. That's disappointing. A cabinet minister even used the words trade war with the United States. We threatened to invade them?
Yeah, no, I'm about to say, it's not I'm pretty sure everything was totally peachy with us in Canada on both sides for as long as I can remember. But then they, started shit with Canada out of nowhere, first thing. It's like you said, we're going to make them the 51st state. It wasn't just the tariffs and shit. It was we're going to turn them into one of the states, just take them over and everything. I say we. It was Trump fucking doing it the whole time. But yeah, it's not like it came out of nowhere. We picked a fight, and they're pissed about it. And then now we're like, what's your guys' fucking problem? What's your deal?
Yeah.
Just go along with it.
It's all kayfabe, baby. Don't you know we're just kidding?
Yeah.
Why your labor industry is going under? We're just kidding. We got to make the content for Fox News to make fucking Trump happy, right? So, but anyway, this is the main thing I want to talk about. To be silly for a second here. This is stories how I found out the name of Canada's finance minister. Trey, I want you to guess the name of the most French Canadian rich backer you can think of. Just imagine it.
Pierre Le Delors de Franck.
Francois Champagne.
Oh, yeah, that's very good. Non-determinism, baby.
Yeah, if you want your Quebecan your son to grow up to be finance minister, name him Francois Champagne. Francois Philippe Champagne, I believe is his full name.
Jesus Christ, that's too much.
I was just trying to imagine, like if every country did it this way, pick the guy with the most perfect name to be in charge of the money. Be like he's having a summit with like the Mexican finance minister Rico Suave.
Mm-hmm.
They had
that guy that won the first World Series of Poker when it really popped off, Chris Moneymaker. He'd be running the Treasury Department right now.
There we go.
Which Chris that would that would be 0% dumber than the people that are already in charge of like various cabinet positions in this country. So
it'd be like somehow if the head of China Central Bank turned out to be a rich homie Kwan. All right, we can get into it.
Okay, all right. This is Weekly Skews. Thanks for watching. Before we continue, of course, I do have some business to take care of. First, I want to remind you, if you'd like to see me do stand-up comedy live and in person, you can go to TreyCrowder.com and check out my upcoming tour dates. I'm leaving for my yearly Ohio run in a couple of days, so I'll see y'all out there. And then right after that is a run through Virginia. Looking forward to it. Then there's Milwaukee, Madison, Dallas, Oklahoma City, Nashville with Corey and Drew right before Christmas at Zany's in Nashville, just like we do every year. Bunch of dates in 2026 also. They're all at TreyCrowder.com, along with a link to my most recent special, Trash Daddy, which you should watch if you haven't already. If you'd like a palate cleanser, a nice change of pace, producer Matt's got you covered with Good Skews. Good people doing good things. That's an audio exclusive, so it's on the podcast feed for this show, not the YouTube channel. Go to the podcast feed and you'll find Good Skews. If you want to support this particular program and get more of it, you can sign up on Patreon. Go to weeklyskews.com/more, or just go to Patreon and search for my name. Either way works. $5 a month gets you access to 2 full-length bonus episodes each month, and including quarterly or so, we do Q&As, we call them, interactive episodes where we take your burning questions and answer them. We should be due for another one of those pretty soon. So, yeah, consider signing up on Patreon, get some more Skews in your life. As for the show tonight, Mark already told you what we're going to be getting into a little bit later, but we got to get it started the same way that we always do with the Daily Dumbass. Matt, graphic, please. Tonight's DD haters for not knowing that I'm doing this out of the goodness of my own heart, and also for $50,000 in a chicken shawarma bag.
Let me be clear. I don't work for the campaign. I haven't taken a dollar from the campaign. Tom Homan's doing it because I think he's the greatest president of my lifetime. I want to see him back in the White House.
All right, you can cut it, Matt. So that's Tom Homan, current border czar, I think is his made-up job title. This was filmed last year during the campaign, if the reporting is to be believed. A little less than a month after Homan took $50,000 from the undercover FBI agents pretending to be businessmen in a literal paper bag.
Yeah.
A literal paper bag.
Well, I mean, that's the standard, isn't it? If you're in like shady back alley deals or whatever involving lump sums of cash, I'd almost be disappointed if it wasn't in a crumpled up paper bag. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like, or a duffel. Like either that or a duffel bag feels like the right way to get like a big sum of shady, dirty money.
Like this kind of story always is the most fascinating to me because the people who are least mad should be the most mad. By that I mean like first of all, corruption, like they're just stealing taxpayer dollars does not hit for anybody, right? But what he was specifically accused of doing was taking $50,000 in advance of Trump maybe assuming office for a second time to direct border contracts to unspecified parties we'll get to. Those, you wouldn't need to steer the bid if it was the best bid, meaning whoever you're steering the bid to build a border wall or whatever is going to do the shittiest job for the most money. So you're not even getting the border wall built, which is fine with me, but the people should be maddest about it should be the people who want the fucking border wall, right?
Right, yes.
But they're not.
No. No, well, yeah, but they probably just either don't. I mean, don't they either just never hear about it, or just when they do hear about it, they're told like, "Oh, it's not a big deal," and so they're like, "Oh yeah, see, it's not a big deal," and then they just go on with their lives or whatever. You know what I mean? Because of the bubbles and shit everybody lives in and whatnot. And Tom Homan, he's a good patriot, like he's a good man, good God-fearing man who's on their side, and they know that, so they're not going to think this through very hard.
Yeah, it always reminds me, like, because I'm from Central Virginia, and around Lynchburg, where Jerry Falwell's church is, and when Liberty University and stuff. When his son, who's not even a minister, was caught doing a bunch of shady stuff to pay guys to have sex with his wife, I'd be on Facebook and see people being like, "Well, this is just the media out to get him." But the sources in the story are students and faculty and administrators at Liberty who are asking for help because they're the ones who are being abused and having their shit stolen, right?
Right.
So, like, you're just a bit.
Yeah, well, it's also like these are the people that are hardcore about government inefficiency and government waste and all that stuff. So they should care about the way that taxpayer dollars are being spent, and not in a like, corruption laced way or whatever. But it's like I've said before, this is what I used to do for my day job, was this exact thing. And it's like, it just got hammered, not take bribes, but that's what I'm saying. We've got hammered into us repeatedly over and over. Like, they probably didn't emphasize anything more than avoiding this. And by this, I mean, even like the possible, like, sheen of impropriety. They'd be like, you can't go like golfing with somebody from a potential contractor or whatever and have them, like, you can't go to lunch with these people, or if you can, but they can't pay for a fucking appetizer or any of that shit. All because of, this. Like, it was very, very, very highly scrutinized and was treated as a massively big deal. So it's always funny to me when I hear about the people at the very top can just, again, go get $50,000 in a paper bag and then just bypass all that and just make it happen, with a snap of the fingers.
The FBI agents gave him this money in a kava bag, the fast food chain where they sell like upscale, like, fast casual gyros. I've never eaten there. You?
Huh? Yeah. No, I had. They're one of the places. It's like Kava is one of the few. Kava and Sweet Green and a couple others are like, when I'm on the road and I'm lying to myself that I'm gonna like eat better or more healthy. They're like a place that I can order from or go to or whatever, and not be utterly racked with shame afterwards. So yeah, I'm familiar with Kava. Yeah, I'm sure that they're not. I'm sure it's not even healthy either. By the way,
nah.
It's like that's right, but it's part of their thing, so I buy in anyway.
It feels like Mediterranean. It feels healthier, even like a gyro is just high fat lamb and beef, and put it on whatever. It's fine. It's delicious. I love it. They got a hidden gyro spot across the street I just discovered, so I'm down with it. But yeah, so anyway, the only possible come up it's Tom Homan's going to end up getting here for this is if he gets indigestion from a falafel crunch bowl. So today, this story came out like 2 days ago or early yesterday, and the defense all day yesterday this was like a setup. He was entrapped by the FBI. Okay, he wasn't, but that's a whole different thing. But then today they changed their mind and say actually he didn't take the money. They offered it to him, but he didn't take it. But my thing is like, I don't really believe them. So let's separate it on this because they say they have it on tape, and if the Trump administration wants to prove that he didn't take the money, they can release the tape. It's on video, right? But so the FBI gave him $50,000 of presumably of our money to see if he would take the payoff. He took it, so he just has $50,000 of taxpayer money. Mm-hmm. And this is all basic.
This investigation was initiated when Joe Biden was the president, and it was that FBI. Yeah. But Tom Homan at that time was what? He worked
Fox News commentator.
How the fuck was he securing government? Was it like when we win and I get that job, I'll do? Okay, gotcha. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So here's the thing though. Tom Homan was not the subject of the investigation. He was drawn into the FBI case after a target of the investigation suggested in 2023 on his own initiative that a $1 million payment to Homan could lead to lucrative federal contracts for border security work. So the person the FBI is actually chasing, they're just talking to the guy, and he goes, "You know who'd love to get a bribe? Tom Homan."
Yeah.
They weren't even trying to get Tom. So anyway, they're pretending they were just going after Trump's people. But the reason this is all even the FBI's unthinking, the Justice Department under Biden didn't know if they could charge him because the Supreme Court has muddied what corruption is to such a degree that it's basically legal now. Let me quote here: "They had doubts about whether prosecutors could prove to a jury that Mr. Homan had agreed to do any specific acts in exchange for the money, and because he had not held an official government position at the time of the meeting with undercover agents." So the Supreme Court is basically like Tom Homan's dad, and Tom Homan's like, this $50,000 just followed me home. Can I keep it? And he's got to be like, yeah, I guess so. So like this whole thing is such a fucking, it's so ridiculous. They created Schrodinger's bribe scenario where you get bribed as long as you don't do it in exchange for an explicit quid pro quo.
Right.
That you're later going to do. Also, like another Supreme corruption case, a mayor of a town got paid off after steering $1 million in like garbage truck contracts, and they said, well, that's just a tip, not a bribe, because he got paid after. So if you get paid before you do it, that's all good. If you get paid after you do it, that's all good. So I guess you have to get bribed in the middle of doing the act you're getting bribed for.
Yeah, we're like heading back to like, mob-run labor union type shit from like the Prohibition era and that sort of thing, but with like at the highest reaches of government engaged in it. I'm sure that there's been some of that going on for a long time, but it was always like if you got caught, it would be bad, but now they've just made it like fine to do.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff the unions are doing with the mob was illegal. The federal government, probably because they hated unions also, but like went to huge lengths to try to crush it. That's why Jimmy Hoffa was ended up like arrested in prison. Right. So, anyway, here's the I read a story this morning that like when Trump took office, there were 36 prosecutors working in the public corruption unit, public integrity unit, and now it's down to 2. And I imagine what they do all day is like play cards.
Right.
But this wasn't even a public corruption investigation. This was a counterintelligence investigation that they stumbled across Homan. They don't say what country they're trying to follow the money back to, what kind of spy shit they were up to. But if you want to have some fun, just imagine like what like Taylor Sheridan would do with spy shit happening with border security contracts.
Well, give him time. I'm sure he'll get around to it. Fucking, I mean, eventually he's gonna have told every fucking, Texas and border and oil and just general Papa related story that there is to be told. So yeah, he'll get there.
Anyway, I guess we're going to end up with is a border wall with like a garage door opener that fits the size of a Chinese tank. So that's probably where we're going with this. I don't fucking know what they're up to. Here's the kicker to this, though. Even no matter whether or not they ever investigate and get around to prosecuting for any sort of corruption, which they're not going to because we don't live in that world anymore, he still needs a pardon because a Democratic congressman named James Traficant ended up going to prison back in, I think, the 90s because he got bribed. They didn't necessarily get him on the bribery, but he did not declare the bribe on his taxes. So that's Tom Homan goes back and declares the bribe on his taxes. He can still get arrested later for tax fraud. So what the fuck?
It's always the tax stuff. It seems like that's how they get you at the end of the day. All right, we got an honorable mention for Daily Dumbass. Investigators for not knowing the brains behind the Kirk killing was this one guy in a leather puppy mask.
Before Matt plays the video, I need everybody to understand this is a video tweeted out by Congressman Randy Fine with the caption, "Leftism must be defeated." For those of you, you cut it, Matt. For those of you listening to the audio feed, that is some sort of fetish content human puppy show where a guy in a leather dog mask is directed to roll over by a guy in a leather utility kilt. And then an audience claps for him doing dog tricks.
Yeah, which, for the record, I mean, the whole reason that it's impressive and you clap when a dog does those things is because dogs are real fucking stupid in comparison to humans. So, like, any human should, be able to handle that. I would think pretty easily. It's not really that impressive. Somebody's signals you to roll over and then you roll over. I don't know that you deserve a treat for that if you got a human brain as opposed to a dumb old dog's brain. But anyway,
right. So there's kind of a weird furry thing bubbling up on the right because with the investigation of the Kirk shooter, the trans angle kind of flopped for them. Not in the way it didn't happen the way they wanted. So like. But Tyler Robinson maybe was at least a little furry curious when we know that we talked about last week.
Hold on. What's the latest on the trans roommate thing, though? Because I thought they had that going.
Right, but
I know that the trans roommate wasn't involved at all, but neither any of these furries that he's like curious in. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
but they're saying he was one, so therefore he's a pervert and therefore a leftist. right?
So they're saying he actually was a furry.
Right. But anyway, what we just watched weren't furries. I don't really understand all these different subcultures because I'm not in them, but there's no leather stuff involved in furries. So anyway, there's nothing right or left coded about people in leather doing, like, was Big Gay Vito in The Sopranos left wing? I don't feel like you.
People also, they go to fucking sex dungeons and get gagged and whipped and shit in the bowels of DC and then go, and then go fucking place their hand on the Bible and vote for some prudish bullshit or whatever with a flag pin on their lapel. I mean, that everybody knows that happens. It's been going on for fucking years. So yeah, you're right. But
yeah,
that ain't how they see it.
I don't really see. I don't really understand how it's left wing with the leather puppy stuff. But I will concede there's no Jesus or church involved. But also, like, the idea that, like, being like furries are inherently left wing is weird because there are Nazi furries.
Right.
You got this big.
Of course there are.
So, like, some Nazi furries may even have been involved in a chlorine gas attack on a furry convention at a hotel in Illinois back in 2014. So, yeah, that's obviously like an irony. I'm not even sure if that's really supposed to be a Nazi, but because the Nazi the swastika armband's a paw print. I don't even know what the fuck they're doing. It's none of my business.
People are so wild.
So the memorial service yesterday, did you watch any clips from it?
I saw some clips from Trump's beautiful, moving eulogy that he gave. Moved me to tears repeatedly. But I saw some clips from that, and I saw Erica Kirk forgave the shooter. I also saw her entrance with all the pyrotechnics. That was super metal. Great choice. So went hard as fuck, appropriately. Yeah, so I saw a couple clips of that, but that's it. I told you guys when it was going on, if I could go back and just watch that whole thing rather than the fucking Titans and Raiders games yesterday, it would have hit for me a lot harder. I can promise you that, but I, alas, didn't.
Yeah, as a kid who grew up in a church, like, I found like it's like a parody of Righteous Gemstones. Like, I don't really like, but even like theologically, like. The Erica Kirk forgiving, that's like a core tenet of Christianity is that you forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against. You're supposed to be able to try work to forgive people who wrong you,
right?
In exchange for God forgiving you for wronging Him, right? So, like, but then Trump got up there and said basically threw that all the way.
Opponents, yeah, right.
And so anyway, we're speed running real quick why, like, religious people should be against commingling church and state because it kind of bastardizes your religion. Anyway, a lot of people are trying to dabble into evangelical Christianity for the first time these past few weeks. It leads to like people are like literally live tweeting going to church for the first time. Because you're like, I don't know, but part of this has developed into like a huge movement on TikTok where people thought the rapture is happening tomorrow.
Tomorrow, like the 23rd.
Yes,
is the rapture
tomorrow? Tomorrow,
and the people don't ever get to see this episode, Mark, because the rapture happens.
Nobody watched this is getting taken.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah, we'll be around burning in hell. Make sure to still watch this as you're being tortured by demons or whatever happens to all the people that don't get sent to the promised land. I'm not really up on it.
You just get left behind, so you're just here.
And it's okay. Let me quick theological diversion here or digression. Right, we all get left behind for not being believers, but like, then does bad shit does hellfire rain down and stuff, or is the supposition always been because only sinners are left behind will ruin the earth and turn it into hell? Because if that's what's supposed to happen, what would be hilarious is if they rapture all the Christians and then Earth and America just hits after that forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we just fix everything and everything's fucking great. They're going forward.
Yeah, I mean, like, however you think it looks, kind of depends. None of this stuff's actually in the Bible, really. So,
okay.
like, it was all kind of invented in the 1800s by various, like, Pentecostal movements and shit. So, like, whatever you think it looks like is what it looks like. It's in your heart, Trey.
Okay.
So, like, this lady was mega viral. She gave out a bunch of tips on what to do during the rapture. If you got this, is tip number 5.
Rapture trip tip number 5. When you finally start moving up into the air, I recommend that you don't hold on to anything. I definitely don't recommend looking down. I think we learned that lesson from Lot's wife. Okay.
All right.
Let's keep calm.
Oh my God.
So I do want to say, because this drops tomorrow, I don't want to get too far on a limb here and say this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, right. We'd really have egg on our face if and when the rapture does occur.
Yeah. So,
true.
one of our other tips was that everyone should get clean underwear, because when you float up in the air and disappear, you don't want your stained underwear floating down, because that would be embarrassing. Can you imagine how dumb we're going to feel tomorrow if you walk outside and the rapture's happening, this lady's perfectly clean underwear flow down into your yard as you get left behind? Like people are like, again, it's hard to draw the line between who's like performing for viral reasons and who's actually believing in this shit, right? But people are like cleaning their houses to prepare them for whoever moves in after them when they get raptured. Some Australian dude sold his car.
Just because he don't need it, because he's going to be raptured and he'll have angel wings after that or whatever.
Right. But you don't need the money either.
Right. Yeah.
So what?
Well, maybe he just, somebody else needs the car, but he's not going to not take money.
Leave the keys in it. Yeah.
Right.
So, going back to the investigation, the FBI, man, they basically spend more of their time chasing the conspiracy theories and trying to actually make a case in court. But they did find they've been looking really hard. They really want Tyler Robbins to be a part of some like larger group, like an Antifa cell or like an online LGBTQ support community or anything, and they can't find any of that. Thus, one person familiar with the federal investigation said that, quote, thus far, there is no evidence connecting the suspect with any left-wing groups. Every indication so far is this was one guy who did one really bad thing because he found Kirk's ideology personally offensive. This person continued. So, as we talk about motives, I tried to be really careful to basically preaching against certainty, be like, we don't, like, everyone's acting like they're so certain this guy is like left wing or whatever, that they're ignoring all the possibilities because they don't understand like the right wing internet. And it turns out that Tyler Robbins appears to be just a normie who's hateful about hate. And those text messages came out last Monday night, right? Where he texted his roommate / romantic interest.
Are you at all dubious about or find those text messages at all dubious or anything? Because like Reddit did for sure. Right. I don't know if they moved on from that or not, but Reddit was very much in a position of like, this is clearly bullshit, or what they think we're fucking babies. This ain't real. What do you think about that?
Two things. One, text messages were very weird because he did not talk like a Zoomer talks. And he was very explicit in confessing to crimes in very specific ways. And it didn't sound like he was talking to somebody he was familiar with. That said, I get why people are looking at it with a little bit of a side eye. To try to fake this would be extremely ballsy, because the messages need to be on both phones. There has to be metadata. They have to be in the cloud, and you'd have to have like 7 different police and prosecutory the departments, agencies involved in this lie and cover up for reasons which I cannot imagine, because they from the administration standpoint, they absolved the love interest, which was bad for them, right? Mm-hmm. And also they could have faked them better. So people would he read like a Civil War soldier. My dearest roommate, I'm texting to let you know that I have murdered Charlie Kirk with a very specific rifle which I left in this location. It definitely belongs to me, even though I wiped my fingerprints off. It's all like, I get why. I just don't think they need to do that, and for what reason I can't possibly imagine. The people.
Yeah, it's
pushing
like you were
this,
just saying. You would think if they were gonna do that, they would fake it in a way that serves their interest even more explicitly or better than those seem to. Like you were saying, they want him to be in an actual Antifa cell or something. Well, if you're going to fake all that, I mean, why not put that shit in there?
If Cash Patel was going to write the dream text messages, it would be like, it would say, "Hello, my trans lover. Please report to the commander of our Antifa cell, Kamala Harris, that I have executed the mission she ordered me to do."
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So, I do want to say, this is one of those situations where knowing stuff kind of makes you stupider. For example, if you were somebody who barely watched the news, didn't know where Charlie Kirk was, or know what a Groyper was, or know anything, you just saw somebody killed a MAGA guy. I bet it was somebody who didn't like MAGA. You were kind of way closer to the truth than me, right?
Yeah.
So I still think you describe the guy's politics as like a guy who otherwise didn't care about anything, but was he's like a bisexual barstool sports guy, right? So, but anyway, like So I said something one show, maybe both shows we've done since the shooting, that he went as a Pepe meme for Halloween, right? That could be true, but maybe not, because what is true is he for Halloween one year he wore an Adidas tracksuit, a backwards Kango cap, and took a pose in a picture where he squatted, which also is a Pepe. There's also a Pepe meme where Pepe wore a black tracksuit and a backwards Kango hat and squatted, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the Slavic squat is a separate meme. They both could be referencing because there's a meme on the internet. The Slavic people like to squat in Adidas tracksuits and backward Kango caps and take pictures.
Yeah, it's fuck. There's a funny saying that goes with the Slavic squat. It's like heels on the ground, comrade found, heels in the air. Fuck, I can't remember, but it's basically, you're a capitalist pig.
Okay.
Except it rhymes. But anyway, and that's always been funny because I can't squat all the way that low down with my comfortably with my heels still on the ground. So that's how you know I'm a true American. But anyway, yeah. Maybe the Pepe meme itself was like, it'd be funny as if we made Pepe doing the Slavic squat, right?
Right.
So, yeah. And then he's just also doing the Slavic squat, and him and Pepe are, just doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's overlapping.
They independently arrived at the same bit.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Parallel thinking between him and Pepe, or Pepe's creator, rather.
Right. So, but the right wing movement thinks that like they need the text messages to be fake because they want the roommate to be implicated in it. Now, what this sounds like in public, how they think through the conspiracy theories, and they range from Trump had Kirk killed to change the story from at the Epstein files,
right?
To Israel killed Charlie Kirk for kind of advocating for release of Epstein stuff and be a little bit skeptical of the war was being conducted. That the mechanics of that, by the way, is that there was a like just like the pagers, Charlie Kirk's microphone is what killed him. So anyway, I'm about to read you a headline on a video made by Liz Wheeler, who has millions of followers on social media, and in 2018 she was profiled by Politico magazine and called a titan of conservative media. Let me read this title of this video. Trans leader of Utah Antifa group under FBI investigation tied to communist billionaire. Trans leader of Utah Antifa group under FBI investigation tied to communist billionaire. That is like Mad Libs. It's like a DMT rush to an angry old man's brain.
Yes.
None of that relates to anything as far as I can tell. But this is the main thing they seem to be focused on. The official FBI, Kash Patel, tweeted out a long statement yesterday. Let me quote part of it. "We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location for where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text message confession and related conversations, Discord chats, the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th. That's every internet theory they're investigating.
Right. Speaking of internet theory, just since that came up just now, I don't know if you know this, but I'm well read. So Drew, I don't know if any of this has changed or not, but you're not Drew B. Drew wouldn't commit to anyone like the actual impetus or motive behind this, but Drew last week was saying that it was very hard for him to believe that that this guy acted alone. Right? He's like, I don't know why, I don't know who else did it. I don't know all that. I'm just saying, I don't see any fucking way that this one guy did it himself, because he was talking about the hand signals, he's talking about the whole gun location thing and him leaving without it, but then it was there and all this other stuff that happened. And I didn't know if you and Drew had talked about that, or if he put in the group chat, or what you think about that. Because my whole reaction, my response to it, I was just like, okay, but why? Like, who would have done it and why? And he had a few different theories that you've already covered, Israel, fucking the Trump thing, whatever. But yeah. Like, what's it, the hand signal guys? Just as an example, that just a thing that just looks weird in context. Who the fuck knows? I mean, the old man that got tackled first, that guy in the crowd who turned back and looked and celebrated the shot and all that stuff.
You think a professional hit squad would publicly celebrate in the middle of trying to get her getaway?
No, I don't think any of that. I'm asking, what I'm saying, but Drew, who isn't here to say this, but I'm relating it to you secondhand. He did say all these things. He does find them weird.
Sometimes things just be weird.
Right. Yeah.
Again, like
if nothing insane had ever happened, none of that, no one even would have even noticed any of those things, and even if they did, they'd be like, that was weird, but then you just move on. But because this crazy fucking thing happened.
Right. If, I brought this up before, I can never remember the name for it, but the psychological mechanism where we ascribe a higher meaning to events in retrospect depending upon their impacts. Like, there are no conspiracy theories at all about John Hinckley shooting Reagan that I've ever seen.
Right.
Just because Reagan didn't die.
Right.
So what if the shooter had missed? Are we still doing conspiracy theories about it or no?
Yeah. Just so you know, Corey also separately is getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the JFK stuff. He's just now getting around to that. But yeah, but that too, he's like, he refuses to hear it. He just will not hear it. He's like, no, you got to be an idiot to actually believe that it's like you just said, it's just like with Kirk, even him being like deified the way that he is, when it's like, where was he really at in the hierarchy of all these like right-wing thought leaders and stuff before it happened? Obviously he had a lot of cachet, but it's like, where did he really fall? Was he like build a statue and give him a day of remembrance God level dude? No, but this happened to him. And because this happened to him, that's, amplified all that on the right and made them like really dig their heels in where all that is concerned.
I mean, you try to like quantify it. The people's reactions to this are for like, yeah, I mean, we don't like. I don't say this as a criticism of him because he's objectively way more popular and successful than we are. But like, he was the 38th most successful, popular podcast on Apple. Mm-hmm. But like, the reaction to this, have you followed the Starbucks shit?
No, I don't know anything about Starbucks. Like, related to the Charlie Kirk thing, Starbucks.
Yeah.
No.
So apparently, Kirk had like a signature Starbucks order. It's like one of their mint teas with 2 honeys or something, and so. All across America, because everything we do is consumerism now, people in memory of him are going to Starbucks and ordering this drink and trying to get Starbucks people to write Charlie Kirk on the cup. Some baristas thought it was weird and didn't do it. Some people didn't, but also they manufactured the controversy about trying to film baristas who weren't enthusiastic enough about doing it. And one person on their own cup, after they got this order, wrote loser on it. And we know this is stupid, but they pretended that a barista did it. And it went viral on the internet. That Starbucks got closed down for a few days because of bomb and death threats. Then Starbucks released a security video showing that the person that was not on the cup, the person must have done it themselves. But it doesn't matter. But like, what is the point of all that? Like, why are you stunting on somebody's death to go viral with a fake thing trying to get baristas killed? What is the point of any of that?
Just, dude, attention and clout and virality and any of that. Like, any opportunity that you can take to try to, accumulate any of that, people are going to do it. Obviously, not everybody, but a huge chunk of people. Like,
yeah.
Yes. I mean, even it's even like fucking Tucker Carlson said about the Trump administration, just like using Kirk's death as a mechanism to accomplish some of their own political means or goals or whatever.
Dude, as far as I could tell, none of his family outside of his wife was at the memorial service yesterday, but RFK Jr. and Tucker Carlson spoke. Mm-hmm. So what is the? People grieve how they want to grieve, but that wasn't a memorial. Whatever it was is a political rally. So, get back to text messages for a second. Yeah, so half the right thinks the messages are fake because they don't implicate the roommate, and the other half thinks the shooter is a patsy because it was Israel that killed Charlie Kirk. I'm quoting from Matt Walsh. I'm leaning very strongly towards the theory that this text exchange was scripted as a way to absolve the boy, he's his boyfriend, because I don't know the gender of the person, so I'm going to say love interest. It's almost exactly what Walter White did at the end of Breaking Bad. So because he saw Breaking Bad, there must be more people involved in this conspiracy. And obviously the 22-year-old kid, was a huge fan of the show that went off the air almost a decade ago and took it and made...
God, shut up. Is that true? Is that fucking true? Anyway.
Yeah, it would have been like 2015, 2016, right? So, Turning Points USA, Kirk's organization, they had to put out a statement because one of the big conspiracy theories is that a 30-06 is too powerful of a rifle for Charlie's neck to stop around. Right. So the proof that there's a conspiracy and the surface story doesn't make sense is that no one behind Charlie Kirk died. So Turning Point USA spokesman Andrew Colvett put out a statement Saturday that even in death, Charlie Kirk may have saved lives. In a post on X, Colvett addressed the online discussion about the lack of an exit wound after Charlie Kirk was shot. He said he spoke directly with the surgeon who worked on Kirk at the hospital. Colvett said the doctor described Kirk's bone as, quote, so healthy and so impressive that he's like the man of steel.
Well, I mean, not exactly like the Man of Steel, but
right, but yeah,
but yeah, okay. Well, that's fun. You know, they got to take any opportunity to lionize him further, but it's also like, I don't know, wouldn't it, you know, come from an angle, hit right here, go down? You know, there's a lot of other.
Right, but there's no exit. Apparently, there's no exit wound. But part of the conspiracy theory is that they took the body without doing an autopsy, which is like, I think we all know the cause of death here. So, yeah, I just like, I would recommend to the family to cremate Charlie Kirk because people are going to be digging up his bones and trying to sell them as relics if you don't, because this is fucking his super bones stopped the powerful bullet. Yeah, I don't know the truth of any of this, but I respect to all the people who are trying to make reality so muddy that no one will ever know the truth about anything ever again.
Yep. All right. What do we got here? We got another honorable mention. Yep. The FCC was the honorable mention for making me agree with Ted Cruz, even when he's doing a stupid impression.
He threatens explicitly. We're going to cancel ABC's license. We're going to take them off the air, so ABC cannot broadcast anything. And I got to say, he threatens it. He says, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. Yeah. And I got to say, that's right out of Goodfellas.
No, it's not.
That's right out of a mafioso coming in.
So, oh, God. Fuck Brendan Carr, the FCC director, for making me agree with Ted Cruz. So, Kimmel's going to be back on the air Wednesday. I don't know if you saw the announcement. Came out a little bit before we started taping. Which is how I figured all this would end, is like there'd be like some sort of cooling off period, and then they just quietly put him back on the air after. What I don't want to do, I want to talk about free speech for a second, but I don't want to sound like this. Let me quote here from Exchange over the weekend on Chris Hayes' show. Ben Smith, who's the editor of Semaphore, quote, what you saw with Mahmoud Khalil is that in some ways he is less vulnerable than Jimmy Kimmel. The people who are most vulnerable, the employees of big consolidated mega corporations. Chris Hayes, yeah, although he's about to get deported. So the reason you worry about free speech in a case like Jimmy Kimmel's is not because it's the most important or the most vulnerable. It's because he's the least important and the least vulnerable. And by protecting him, you protect everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the FCC immediately got a bunch of backlash for this. They also talked about like trying to ban hate speech, which like that does not hit for large chunks of the right for pretty obvious reasons. Charlie Kirk himself was an adamant opponent of hate speech laws. As I am too, to a lesser degree. I just don't feel as strongly about it because I don't really want to do a lot of hate speech. So, but the sequence of events they were saying was not coercion. What Ted Cruz's quote there, Brandon Carr, was word for word legit. He went on somebody's podcast and said, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, talking about getting Jimmy Kimmel off the air. Then Trump said ABC should be fined or lose his licenses, quote, for their unfair coverage, talking about their news division. Then Trump accused ABC of hate speech, suggested a DOJ investigation. There was reporting that ABC execs were pissing themselves over fear of government retaliation. Then Nexstar, which is carries ABC programming as affiliates, announced it wouldn't carry Jimmy Kimmel's show. Neither would Sinclair's. They own a bunch of ABC affiliates. Nexstar is waiting for FCC approval for an acquisition. And so they need broadcast, they need licenses. And after all that, Jimmy Kimmel got taken off the air, and they tried to say, no, we didn't do any government coercion.
Right. And they didn't just say that. All the right-wing people online and justifying it were like, this is what you guys have been saying for years, people on the left. It's a private company. I'm firing somebody because they have the right to do that, you know, because it's something they said. Like, you guys love this shit. And the whole time it's like, well, no, this is a little different because it's clearly, you know, government coercion or involvement, like you said, but everybody was just trying to act like, you know, the obvious truth wasn't obvious. And also, you said earlier, it's like it's important because this is the least important type of free speech or whatever. And I know this is what you're saying, or a version of what you're saying, but it's like, yeah, and that's why it's kind of the most important, because you start there. Like, that's how, you know, Putin or any like strongman dictator like that, you know, will start with that type of thing, jokes and satire and, you know, criticism and stuff, and then move up to regular journalists and then up, you know, up and up from there, you know. But it's like, it starts at a level like this that a lot of people are like, who gives a fuck? It's a late night talk show or whatever. But it's like, it does still matter, or at least it should. So
Yeah. Also, like just to be fully transparent here, I have friends that work at Kimmel, and I don't want them to lose their jobs. So, so that's also part of this. But like the joke itself, like as far as like, is a private company making its own private decision? Sure. If it was like a huge public backlash and outcry, and that's the reason they decided to cancel them, because they were going to lose money, I'd been like, well, you got me. But they weren't losing money because they're losing viewers. They're going to lose some, like people that own like you know, affiliates were going to lose money, make less money, because the Trump administration wasn't going to let them do corporate consolidation, which they shouldn't be allowed to do anyway, which is part of this. But like, I will say, this is Streisand effect on top of Streisand effect. Like, punishing Kimmel, that joke specifically was extremely innocuous. It turned out, like, the way he phrased it, basically making the same kind of like assumptions that we do, that Tyler Robinson was MAGA. Like, they got fucked by logistics here. He said, like, they're spending more time trying to make sure he's not one of them than they are mourning or like trying to solve the case, right? Which is true. But because the show aired Monday night, written Monday morning, taped Monday afternoon, the text messages with the roommate came out after they had taped, before they aired. See what I'm saying?
right.
The sequence of events just really fucked him in the ass. That said, it was still extremely innocuous. And like, I hadn't heard that people were even mad about the joke until they took him off the air on Wednesday. So ABC rocketed this into the fucking stratosphere by taking Jimmy off, when I couldn't tell if there's any actually organic backlash. But the target of the joke was not Charlie Kirk. It was Trump for fake mourning. That's why they're mad. The Trump is like, people are trying to do all these high-minded constitutional defenses of what the administration did or what ABC did. But Trump will explicitly be like, let me quote here from him. The president of Air Force One, quote, when you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump, that's all they do. If you go back, I guess, they haven't had a conservative on in years or something. And you go back and take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that. So they keep trying to defend him. He comes out and be like, well, they shouldn't be allowed to make fun of me.
Right.
And they're all like this. Let me quote here from a Semaphore piece about this. One Trump appointee told me that a radicalizing experience for him was being booted out of the Gawker comments section way back in the day. Bro, just fucking go do anything else in your life to be mad about getting kicked out of an internet comment section 15 years ago. It's tough to like describe what's happening here, because it's backlash against like being made fun of or free speech. To me, it's all downstream of the internet. Like, basically, when social media was invented, all the country's elites were thrown in the mix with everybody else in shitposter forums. They could read what everybody thought about them, and all the jokes people made at their expense. It drove them insane. They've been trying to end the internet and democracy ever fucking since. Like, I'm sorry people don't like you, Elon Musk and Donald
Right.
Trump, to a lot of people. Like, but like, what do you want?
Right. Yeah,
Cost
that is what
being
it, no, I
famous
mean,
is-
you're right.
yeah.
That is what it's about. Because when Trump was just famous for being a rich D-bag and then hosting The Apprentice and stuff like that, and the internet was still in its like infancy and social media didn't even exist yet, or was just beginning to exist. It's like you said, he thought he could like genuinely tell himself that he hits for everybody. You know what I mean? This show's a hit. Everybody likes me, whatever, and never really has to be faced with any kind of anything indicating the contrary. And then and like Elon too, he just he thinks like, and because he had that for a while, even like in the early stages of the internet, he was called the next Tony Stark, and people bought in, and he was idolized and all this shit, and then he thought he could do anything, have carte blanche, and then he'd do something that's kind of fucked up. People would call it fucked up, and he just couldn't accept that, because he's like, no, you're supposed to just love everything I do and everything I say and everything that I am. And he couldn't handle when people didn't. It just pushed him further and further, down the rabbit hole of bullshit.
And it's also like they think that like, because it's the natural human instinct is to love them. If you don't love them, you're just pretending. Therefore, you must be getting paid as part of a conspiracy, right? Let me play this. Just play this video from cable news panel the other day, CNN.
taunted, protested the president might have been a racketeering enterprise. All right, I mean, a racketeering enterprise is what I used to.
The people who heckled Trump.
Other people used to prosecute MS-13.
Cut it, Matt. Yeah, the people who heckled Trump in Joe's Stone Crab are part of a RICO conspiracy. They can only hit with a racketeering charge, according to the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche.
Mm-hmm.
So, hanging over all this, it's hard to get to the bottom of the stupid shit they believe, but part of what Doge was doing, and I don't want to get into all the cathedral versus the bizarre stuff, but like when Colbert got canceled, a huge part of like the Doge fans and the Elon Musk fans are celebrating because they think what happened was they had to take Stephen Colbert off the air because his U.S. aid funding was cut.
I mean, how is that supposed to work?
They think everybody who's like left wing or woke or whatever is on the payroll of the cabal.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
Stephen Colbert has a long track record of being the exact guy he is, who's a devout Catholic, who teaches Sunday school, who tries to practice volunteerism and love for mankind. I'm not a fan of his show. I'm just telling you, like, that's what he's been his whole fucking life. His dad and brothers died in a tragic plane accident, had changed the course of his life. So, but the censoriousness here, like, according to Inside Higher Ed magazine, more professors in the United States have been fired for controversial views in the past week than any other point in all of American history. We made it through the Red Scare and the Lavender Scare cleaner than we've made it through whatever you call this. And how did fucking Bob Iger, who, again, maybe this is all part of a strategy that didn't go well, or maybe, I'm not clear whether they were always just planning to have this be a benching of Kimmel, or whether they wanted to test the waters to see if they should cancel him, but a whole bunch of Disney adults went absolutely insane. They had to do the math of whether they'd rather lose MAGA viewers who don't actually watch Kimmel, or Disney adults who spend half their salary at the theme parks.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like it's sort of like when Target bowed to Trump and then whatever, which we talked about before. It was like, that's dumb for y'all. Like, Walmart should cater to them, you should not, or and there's an obvious reason why. But yeah, we talked about Target and Cracker Barrel a couple weeks ago. I still think the best strategy is just to lay still and do nothing. Yeah,
and all this
for sure.
Just try to it's going to boil. They're going to the whole political culture war conversation now is like a Roomba. It just bounces off something and goes to the next thing randomly. So like if you just wait for it to move on, you're fucking fine. But they can't do. But they have to react and make everything worse. And like, how did Bob Iger, Disney CEO, go from being like a progressive corporate crusader, like less than 10 years ago? Like he almost ran for president in 2020 as a Democrat, and now he's like a huge Trump lapdog. Like how? Like it's hard to wrap in even explain how cowardly and weak our elites have gotten. Kay Graham, the publisher of the Washington Post, the woman who constructed Mar-a-Lago, I think, as her summer home, published the second tranche of the Pentagon Papers in the middle of an IPO at the same time Richard Nixon was threatening to pull her FCC licenses. She fucking did that shit. Because fuck you. I don't know whether it's because this is a generation that lived through, they were in the middle of the Red Scare and they're fighting communism while Vietnam War was going on. They lived through World War II and see what authoritarianism does to countries. But why those elites? Why are they so much braver than our current fucking knee-bending crop? Do you have a theory?
No. Well, I mean, not exactly, but as far as just like Iger and a lot of them and a lot of the corporate elites and stuff and the people in charge of Target, we talked about this when it happened. It just feels like there was a massive overreaction by a huge number of people to the results of the last election. Meaning, I think a lot of them thought it wouldn't go that way, and then when it did, and it was like, oh, it was bigger than we thought. A lot of people just interpret that as being like, they threw in the towel. They gave up. They were like, oh, I guess this is what America wants. Fucking, we better get with it or we're fucked. We have to completely abandon all this and change everything about it because, we were wrong. And this is proof of that. When it's still whatever, to even get 50% of the popular vote, or it's still hugely divided. Not to mention the fact that a solid third of the people of this country, don't vote at all. But still, I think that just freaked a lot of them out so much and they just overreacted to it is the best theory that I have for any of it. But I don't know.
Well, if they just have a little bit of solidarity to hang together a little bit, none of them would be in any trouble. Like there's it doesn't anyway. These people are like the weirdest theory I heard and saying that like, well, it's weird that it's not censorship because they didn't go after South Park and they were way harsher on Trump than like Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and way more popular. It's like that's not why. It's because Trump doesn't know what South Park is. Mm-hmm. Trump's like he's mad at late night TV hosts who most people don't watch anymore because he's 80 years old and he's the demographic of people who still pay attention to stuff like late night shows. So he's just like it's hard to it's weird to be governed by a guy who's so out of touch. Like if you really wanted to shut down criticism of himself that's actually influencing people, you probably should go after South Park because a lot of MAGA people watch South Park. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, give it time. We'll see what they do with their next few episodes or whatever. And
dude, Paramount tried to. There was an episode recently where they made fun of Charlie Kirk before he got shot.
Yeah.
And Charlie Kirk apparently had made it like he was using the South Park character as his avatar on various social media platforms.
Profile picture. Yeah, I saw that.
He liked it. After he got killed, Paramount tried to like took the episode down. I mean, I get why. I mean, in this moment, I find that to be one of the least cowardly things of the cowardly things going on. But like Turning Points USA had to be like, can you guys please put it back up? Charlie liked the episode. Mm-hmm. We're doing censorship that even the people who are supposed to be offended aren't for.
Right.
But the way this stuff gets counted, do you remember when Jimmy Kimmel got political?
No. I mean, no. I mean, I know, he got his like start in the mainstream with the Man Show and doing blackface as Carl Malone and stuff, all of which I was a huge fan of at the time, by the way. Mm-hmm. I was like 16, loved it. And he got this job, and I don't know. No, you tell me.
Well, he got I was first remembering he got this show because Bill Maher got canceled for some big C and lower C canceled for saying stuff about 9/11, right?
Yeah, he said they were not cowards, right?
Yeah, so
terrorists.
So Jimmy Kimmel Live only exists because of that free speech backlash. So, but like he gave a heartfelt speech because he had a child born with a heart condition. He talked about how scary it was and how he feels bad that not everybody can have as good a health care as his child does. And then that went viral. Ted Cruz felt the need to tell him to shut the fuck up. And that's how he ended up doing political content. It was just like saying, I wish everybody could go to the doctor like my child can. To me, is not political, but they took it that way. And now we're here. He never talked about politics before that, to my knowledge, other than like the Jay Leno stuff, making fun of like current events vaguely. But so as far as whether or not, I can't figure out whether even they think this stuff is popular because so Sinclair, which had taken Jimmy Kimmel off before, like one of the things that forced ABC to suspend him, Sinclair is the company that runs a bunch of local news broadcasts that like feel like they would be in place inside RoboCop, they were going to air a Charlie Kirk documentary special in honor of him on Friday night in place of Jimmy Kimmel. Instead, they put it on YouTube, and instead aired an episode of Celebrity Family Feud. Because I guess they thought that would get more ratings. And I don't know what the fuck anybody thinks anything is anymore. But yeah, I don't know.
No, we never do. All right, well.
Here, before sorry, I wanted to mention, like, the real story here. Like I mentioned earlier, the corporate consolidation they're trying to censor Jimmy Kimmel to allow should not be allowed anyway. After the 1996 Telecommunications Act, they were down to like in 1983, 50 companies controlled 90% of the U.S. media market. That number is now down to 5. Since then, airlines merged from 12 down to 4 today. 4 giants controlled 80% of meat processing. There's only a couple big pharma companies. What we're living through is the government essentially failing the people and consumers and capitalism on behalf of cronyism. And my real takeaway here isn't they shouldn't be censoring political content on TV, but they shouldn't be letting these big companies consolidate no matter who the fuck they fire. And that's all this is just like we got us fighting over Charlie Kirk because of this chart. What just happens? The top 1% now owns more wealth than the entire middle class. We all knew they had more than the lower class. Now they got more than like everybody else combined. So yeah. All these people own telecommunications companies want us to fight about Charlie Kirk, and I don't know.
follow the money, baby. That's what it's always
Yep.
been about. Ain't no war but a class war. One of these days, people will realize, perhaps. But we're out of time. Thanks for watching. Reminder, go to TreyCrowder.com and check out my upcoming tour dates. Come and see me on the road. Ohio and Virginia are next, then a lot more after that. You can also check out Trash Daddy, my most recent special. There's a link to that on TreyCrowder.com as well. Check out Producer Matt's audio exclusive on the podcast feed for the show called Good Skews. And finally, consider supporting the show on Patreon, weeklyskews.com/more, or go on Patreon and search my name. $5 a month gets you access to 2 full-length bonus episodes. Just this show, but more of it. But either way, if you keep coming back on Tuesdays, we will too. And we'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.